you doing, everybody? It's Michelle again. I am so excited today about this amazing and phenomenal guest that we have up next. His name is Kevin Taylor. He has danced among the stars, and he is an activist for the queer community. So I'm excited for you to hear what he has to say about his coming out story and about how he made it through. But before I go, God laid it on my heart today to share a gift with you of song. So here it goes real quick, y'all. I will do a new thing in you. I will do a new thing in you. Whatever you ask for, whatever you pray for, whatever you hope for, nothing shall be denied, saith our God. That message was for somebody. God wanted me to share it. And without further delay, here is Kevin Taylor. Again, thank you for joining us, everyone. I have a very special guest here today, Pastor Kevin Taylor. He's coming here from New Jersey, and we are we are so excited to have him here. So let's go ahead and jump right in, Pastor Kevin. Sure. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I am the son of Lee Williams and Louise Taylor, born in Washington, D.C., not in its periphery, but right in the nation's capital, September 4th, 1964. I believed I was one of seven until my sister died, the only girl. And we discovered, while my brothers and I were mourning the first death, that it wasn't my mother's first loss. And so we discovered the name Johnny Lee, which was my mother's first son. So I'm one of eight, seven boys, one girl. Born and raised in Washington, D.C. in the projects. I always thought my story was a fat, black, asthmatic, gay nerd in the projects in Southwest D.C. And I thought about every one of those things as I was coming into myself. So,
oh, wow.
You know, the church came into it. I remember the first Sunday at 10 years old that we went to Carroll Baptist Church on Easter Sunday and walked in, and the first lady of the church, though I didn't know that's who she was at the time, I just thought she was a lady in the choir, on Easter Sunday with a fabulous hat and a suit and a scarf, saying, there's a deep centerpiece in the Lord. And I thought that the room was spinning. It looked like the sun came in. It was just splashing colors on her. And I just remember, like, that's the first time I met God. So I'm one of those God is a woman people, because the ways that God has shown up have been in that divine and in that kind of presentation of both the he and the she of it all, you know.
Right.
I am all these things. See those books up on those shelves up there? Those are mine.
And I'm going to need the links for all of those. So I'm going to put the links to all of your books in this YouTube, so you guys can have access to the brilliance of Pastor Kevin Taylor. So now my next question is, how old were you when you came out? How old were you when you realized that you were queer as well? Tell us a little bit about that.
So so I tell people I came out September 4th, 1964. I've never not been consciously aware of my attraction and attractedness, right? So I say attraction for the burgeoning boy, and then attractedness because thankfully I didn't go through an experience that my orientation or my identity were handed to me sexually. And so I got to discover that there was something about the boy in second grade that I liked. And instead of going home like I was supposed to, I went to his house to watch Ultraman and Speed Racer because I just wanted to be in his energy. I remember that there were people who knew in second grade that we were going to be first online and we were going to hold hands, you know? And so there was just always that. And thankfully, my story is that it was never connected to anything other than that, the attractedness, the somethingness. By coming out, I remember for the longest time telling the story of my mother asking me at 13 if I was ever going to get married, and I could not, for the longest time, maybe till I was in my 30s, I couldn't remember why that would have. I was like, did I make that up? Where did that come from? And somewhere in doing research, I remembered Anita Bryant, this former beauty pageant contestant who had become this advocate for, I think in Florida, and I believe it was adoption. And so she was the Florida orange juice spokesperson, and she was also speaking out against homosexuals and they shouldn't be able to adopt. And I think at the time, my mother saw me, the little curious me, reading the newspaper, and this might have been on the front page. And so she asked me, "Baby, are you ever going to get married?" And I snapped the paper, folded it in half, and then in quarter, and said, "Yes, ma'am," as soon as they make it legal.
Oh, and how old were you when you said that again?
I was 13 in 1977.
Oh my gosh. I think that's like an experience of your finished self, like sending strength to your now self, Like
absolutely, because I'm telling you, so I wish, plenty of boy gets slapped or reprimanded for that kind of cross your legs the wrong way, turn your leg, and it's too female. I got reprimanded for this, the ankle on the adjoining leg. That's too grown. Who do you think you are, little man? Because I could sit like this, you know what I mean, with my leg.
Right.
Who's that little boy? Who does he think he is? Trying to be all grown. I was like, I'm not trying to be grown. I think I was just giving myself permission, or something gave me permission to hold space for myself, for the me that was coming. I was already asked to be the responsible one. I was already answering the phone and dealing with the bill collectors. I was already taking the food stamps and going to do family grocery shopping. And so something in me knew me needed protecting. And, the me around to do it was me. So
that's amazing. Wow. Now, how was it what did your mother say when you said that? What was her response? And did she ask you that question again?
She never asked again. The only time it came up later is after it came up again after marriage equality was made, the law of New Jersey, not even of the land, because it happened in New Jersey before that. And my mother said to me, God rest her soul, she said, "Baby, God must be working on something for you, because you ain't never asked for a boyfriend, a partner, a significant other, all the little terms that we use." She said, "You told the Lord husband, so I pray he's on the way," And so my mother, God bless it, again, as I said, there were actually 7 boys. We thought there was 6. And the funny part of the dynamic of 6 was that half of us are gay.
Wow.
So and this activist gay son, she has the hairdresser gay son, and she had the street bisexual queer son, you know what I mean? So.
Wow. And did your mother ever?
So it never came up again, except in those contexts. My mother, used to come up to Jersey and spend 3 weeks with me and was at church every Sunday. And there were times when my mother would leave church with some of our members and I wouldn't see her till Wednesday. I'm not kidding you. And I was like, where did she go? She didn't even take clothes with her. That's because they were going to take her shopping. My mother, God rest her soul, was spoiled by the LGBT community. But because she loved, my mother, one Mother's Day in '94, when I was still in the choir, before ministry had come, when I was a deacon candidate, but before I was any level of ordained, I asked my mother to stand up in church because a number of the mothers were there, because our service was at 3 o'clock. And so mothers could go to their own Mother's Day service, and a few came to Mother's Day service with us. And I asked my mother to stand so that, because at the time our church was worshiping in a Presbyterian church that was across from the place I went to 3rd and 4th grade. And so, and it had a big glass window. So when I'm in front of my mother, a few rows, and I ask her to stand, and the backdrop to her is this place where I went to elementary school. So I just wanted to love on her and say, thank you for loving your sons for who we are. And, people were crying because she was there. Somebody went to, it just got full. And after I finished, my mama started to sing, "Praise the Lord, everybody." And my mother was not a singer. She was the downstairs kitchen cooking one, but she would moan while she was shucking peas.
Listen.
And but this is the first time I saw her fully sing. And my best friend, who was also in the choir, caught the small of my back as I was about to go down. And I said, okay, don't pass out, don't pass. But people were passing out because she came down out of the pew and down the aisle. And the bishop was holding the mic like, come on, mother, come on, y'all know you got something to say. And as my mother walked, there were literally people dropping because I got blessed. Let's see if I can show this picture. This is not a good picture of her, but it's an idea of her. My mother was a church lady, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Big
a
mama.
church mother.
She was big mama with pretty hats that matched her suits. And, you know, so her presence that Mother's Day with her, Saturday done hair, you know, and her hat and her suit, you know, as she walked down the aisle, just really did do something for folks. And she got to the mic and she said, so many of y'all are struggling because you're trying to get somebody to love you who don't know themselves. I remember she said themselves, you know, this is one. And she said, but if you need somebody to love you, call me. She said, my number, 202, and she gave her phone number. So, what's the number again, Mother? Tell her. She gave it out again. She said, these breasts can hold your head while you cry, even if you think you're wrong.
Okay, wait. So she was in a midst of LGBT people doing all this?
This is an LGBT affirming service of about 200 or 300 people at the front of the church. For people, I'm talking about wailing because she looked like Big Mama. You know what I mean? And she said, you know, if you need me, she tapped her breast and you know, the bishop hugged and kissed her. She wasn't, you know, she gave me, he kissed her cheek, and you know, and went back to her seat. We finished the service. And I remember going downstairs to change out of my choir room. When I came back, MJ, my mama had a receiving line of like 30 people. I guess who were just trying to talk to her, hug her, say thank you. Some of them were trying to make sure they got her phone number right. So I went and sat beside her because my mom was always talking to people on the bus, always talking to people in the supermarket, always talking to people in the department. So you just learn to sit and wait while mother, you know, loved you. So I sat beside her, and one of my friends in the church walked up and he said, Mother Taylor, I just want to say thank you. He said, I wondered all this time where Kevin got all that from, but now I know. And my mother said the thing that changed the way I saw myself, because it changed the way I thought she saw me. Hello. And my mother said, baby, what you think you see is me on Kevin. The truth is what you see is Kevin on me.
Oh my goodness, that just like blew me away.
I think that's the first time I said that without crying, and then there it comes. So yeah, it was just kind of like, whoop.
It almost seems like your mother was just a mother. She wasn't a preacher. She wasn't anything else but just a mother. And can you imagine? And it sounded like the impact of those people in that church to all of those who didn't have a mother.
And let me tell you how right you are. Because again, not only did she have this receiving line, not only did she come up to my church and stay for 3 weeks at every service. I missed her for days because she went somewhere and played mothering somebody else. There were times when I was talking, because this would be around the time when I would talk to my mother every Sunday, because though she left in 2015, right up till the end, if we had a high holy service, ooh, baby, what you preached today? I felt it. And I literally had to do a synopsis of the sermon. And when she left on, I came down to Washington, D.C. to bury her at Carroll Baptist Church, the church where we were raised. It was odd to move into the pulpit. It was odd to, you know, they gave me the pastor's office because the pastor wasn't able to be there because he was battling cancer himself and has since left us. And then to come in and, like, I promise you, 85% of the church was either my members, my friends. The 6 pallbearers were my friends from elementary school, college, growing up age, and then present. And I remember, and that's essentially what I preached. I was like, you know, that my mother was everybody. We understood very early on that our mother was on loan to the world, because I promise you, when my mother would call me on those Sundays, she'd be like, baby, one of your friends saw me at the bus stop and then took me to the Giant to do my shopping, and then took me up Connecticut Avenue and then brought me home. I said, Mama, who was it? You know, the girl, the bald-head girl with the red car. I was like, Mama, I haven't lived in D.C. in 15 years. I don't know who has a red car. Well, she wasn't a serial killer because I made it home. And so, and she would be on the street, Mother Taylor, yes, babe, you need a ride? Sure, baby. And she would get in the car. I have no idea who it was, but if you thought she was a mother.
Do you think that in your reactions, your presentation, your just pride that you have in yourself as you as a man, as a person, and that it comes through everywhere on your 11:11 show that you have, in your writing, in your Facebook posts and all that stuff. And as an out pastor, I mean, do you think that your mom is the reason why you have so much confidence in yourself? Because, and also my question is, have you noticed a difference in Black gay men whose mother was not like yours? Do you notice a difference in their quality of life and the way they perceive themselves?
So in asking that question, I'm trying to do a quick mental scan of my close friends whose mothers are in their lives and left them, David, John and David, Larry, Fulton Woods. And there might be something to that, to the tenacity, to the audacity, to the weight and empowered sense of being of Black gay men whose mothers mothered them, you know? And I'm gonna be clear about mothered versus smothered. The mother who treats her son like a man.
Talk about it, sir. Talk about that. Here.
You don't get to have anybody. You be fine. So I will say that for the Black gay men I know who have been mothered, whose mothers are anchored and support. You go ahead, baby, and you live your life. Those men, I think have a sense of constitution that is different from the mother who is damning and dismissive, and from the mother who is smothering and kind of limiting, like, no, that's who you are, and my fear is that you ain't gonna never be happy, so you stay close. You're always, wherever you go, I'm always gonna be there. Whatever you need, I'm all. And so, and it's somewhere in that, you know, if you're looking at the Olympic stand, in that bronze, silver, that stacked gold spot is the man whose mother, you know, he's partnered, and his mother loves, honors, and supports his relationship, comes to their home and respects it, played a solid concrete role in their lives and the way that they love, and who was able to kind of allow her son to allow somebody into his life, and then be adored in the mother-in-law role of it all. I got two sons who love me, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. I remember, I can look back over a number of stories and see, you know, men whose mothers
I've noticed that too.
Adored by their sons and supported.
Yes.
So the son lifted the mother up.
And a lot of times, you know, I've seen this a whole lot too. Black gay men whose mothers are not as supportive as yours, they tend to be more, if I could put it in like spiritually, if I could like describe that, bent over. Yes, sir. No, ma'am. You know, they have sort of a
mama call. I got to go.
Right. Yes, and in turn, they become that person to the world. Not only do they surrender in a non or very conforming way. They're gay, but they won't be out. They have a partner, but they don't bring them.
The guy who said to me once when I said something to him about whether or not he was out, and he said I would never embarrass my mother like that. I was like,
yes.
What are you talking about? That.
Yes. And I just found out the other day that the brat didn't come out until her grandmother died because she was trying to respect her grandmother. But everybody's journey is their own. I am never here to say,
right, you know, I get it.
You know, but there's a certain level of expectation that you should have as an adult towards your parents for them to treat you like adults, right? There's no way that I can keep my wife's secret until somebody dies. It's not a promotion. It's a marriage.
And like you just said, though, you know, that at some point you treat yourself like an adult, and that's what's missing. There is an arrested development in the LGBT community that can keep us stuck in this place of, you know, I don't have any responsibilities because I don't have children. I don't have this, that as you just said, is very bent over. And until we stand up and love and affirm ourselves, it's not even that like love and affirm our relationships, like love and affirm Eve, right? No, I'm not changing the artwork when you come to my house. If I got a naked Alvin Ailey dancer posted in the living room, it's gonna stay in the living room.
Exactly.
Don't like it, don't come in my room. It's not in the guest room. Stay in the guest room where there's flowers and landscape. If you come in my room, you might see a book on the nightstand, you know, of naked pictures of Lenny Kravitz. If you don't want it, don't crack the page.
I know that's right. I think that most of the time, and I've been out probably for, what am I now, 38. I think it's like 20, 22 years or something like that. But what I've noticed is that there is a significant impact that the way your family views you have on every queer person.
Absolutely.
And what I've noticed for myself, the way I've categorized it, is that they are just words. Everything that is said, everything that is spoken over you as a queer person, they're only words. They have no power. They have no core. Listen, and when I started thinking of it that way, I was just like, oh, well, they can think what they want.
You know what started to happen for me, and even though where I found a new sense of infusion is when people stop talking abomination, when they change a word, they stopped saying abomination because they didn't know what that meant. And so they started to say, I don't agree. I don't agree with your lifestyle. I don't agree with your choice. I said, oh, we're dealing with what we don't agree with. I don't agree with the fact that your leg sponge is coming so far down that you have no forehead. I don't agree with the fact that the fat in your feet is coming out of those feet. I don't agree with the fact that you're 20 and that's an 18 suit and the buttons are something. If this is about agreement, because it seemed like it did the work to balance the scales and stop people from lording over you. A friend of mine at BET who came into my office and closed the door and he's like, Kev, I need to talk to you. It was a Thursday, I remember. He said, Kev, I need to talk to you. I said, what? Okay. Because we were friends, we were friendly, we were co-workers, we weren't boys. He's like, today's my anniversary. And I was like, okay. And he's like, and I got big plans for Saturday. I got a show with I was like, but you didn't make any plans for tonight, your actual anniversary, right? And he's like, see, how you know that? And I was like, he's like, so what do I do? Because I called my wife saying, hey, babe, I'm on my way home. She goes, okay, I already got home and I'm doing my hair because she assumed it's our actual anniversary. What are you doing? He's like, I'm in trouble. And I need help. I said, okay. I said, so, wait, so pick the phone. I called my friend at Mr. Childs and got dinner reservations. Then I said, because what are you doing Saturday? We're going to a concert. Good, it ain't the same thing. And I called it was almost like I called on the Gay Male Coalition, like, call the fashion director, bring me some dresses, And he literally, we grabbed 3 women and he was like, is your wife this side, this side, or this side? He's like, that side. Goodness. So we went and got her addressed. And I called the florist across the street. We got a $100 arrangement. He's like, $100 or $100. But you done forgot. And I bet you she kind of knows you forgot. And so I said, on your way out, go get the flowers, probably get one of them 777 cars, get home. So when you get out of the car, you got her dress in a bag, you got the flowers, and you got, a town car there waiting. And he was like, man, you saved my life. And I was like, and as he went to walk away, he looked back and he was like, Kev, he said, I bet you wonder why I asked you instead of, like my boys on Rap City. And he was like, I did. And they were just kind of like, you should be all right till Saturday. She'll be all right. And he's like, clearly they wasn't married and they didn't know what the next 48 hours was going to be like. He said, but I came to you, bro, because you're built like me, but you think like her.
Wow.
And it blew my brain. And my brother found offense in that. He was like, well, he is saying that you somehow female. I said, but Gregory, that's what I believe it is for me to live in my skin as a Black gay man. That I have the capacity to be somewhere in the middle of this Keynesian scale that's not about who I sleep with, but the way I am constructed, the way my chromosomes are built. And so I'm okay with that. And you can be mad about it if you want. I know his intention was to say that a heterosexual man would have gone to this kind of, I have planned for Saturday all matter. You're thinking that she's thinking today's our anniversary, and if you want to get to Saturday, you gotta remember this. He said, and I couldn't think. I was ready to go in as a man and fight. You were ready to step in as a man and support, and that's what I needed.
Wow.
Right? We came back to work on Friday, like, man, I don't even know if we're gonna get out to Saturday. The sex was so good last night. She was so happy with what we did. I was like, y'all don't understand. Just because we don't sleep with women, don't mean that we don't know women intrinsically.
No women. Yes. Come on, original queer eye for the straight guy.
Boom.
I know that's right.
So when my brother was actually wrestling with it because he's like, he said, for me, it sounded like, it just felt like, I was like, Greg, I appreciate that because it's not a phrase that he would have ever said to you. There would have been no need to say it to you, so it wouldn't land on you. It's just like if somebody brought you chocolate. Nobody's bringing me chocolate. I'm allergic. It's the same thing.
Same thing.
There's no joy and support. I'm not missing something because I can't eat chocolate.
Right. Now, being at BET, as a gay man, Was your experience amongst the stars different? Tell us about
I
that.
think it was. And I think my experience, because first and foremost, when I first came to BET, I came to BET literally at a time where I was the male co-chair of the DC Coalition of Black Lesbians, Gay Men, Bisexuals, and Transgenders. So I was on the activated side of things while I'm in this kind of ooh-ah. And so the first part of it, with the very early on, there was an incident, like my first 6 months, where Buju Banton was scheduled to come on a show called Video LP and talk about this song, Boom Bye Bye. And I was like, that man ain't coming in here. No. And so Donald Suggs from GLAAD, he was on the phone with me. He was like, Kevin, tell us what you need. And so I was literally grabbing like the guy I could look right at. Forgive me. And I was, I wasn't publicly outing. I was in outing, like grabbing by the shirt and pulling into a bathroom stall and saying, listen, Queen, I don't need you to watch this fight with me, but I need you to not get in my way. Right? I need you to not be that dude going, I don't know, who is he? Who does he think he is? Because later on, a group of gay men told me when we had all gone out to dinner, he said, John, when you first came in here, we went to lunch and said, did you see that Queen Lydia Cole Hyde? She gonna out all of us. Because I came in with my braids and a pair of floral Peter Mac shoes that had been painted that I found in Georgetown, and thinking if I was free in the DC government, I'm about to be on fire and free. And listen, I didn't know it was a bunch of closets. I didn't know people got into the entertainment industry to be in the closet, to be like, it's not people's concern, to be they ain't their partner. I didn't know it. I didn't expect it. So I transitioned, so the big moment was after Donald got on the phone with Donald Suggs, after pulling these guys to the, pulling coattails. I went to Bob Johnson and said, listen, either cancel him off the show or I will have 900 queens in this parking lot by nightfall. Because like, we're not doing this. And one of the sisters was like, who is he? Did he get to decide who on my show? I was like, listen, if somebody was talking about raping women, I would be in the parking lot marching for you. So I need you to not let this happen. So it went from that, and that. So and then where I feel like it really became this fuller experience is that I found that there were a lot of men it was interesting to see men in the glamour and allure of this industry who in no way could enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yes.
I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have, like, your favorite rapper come at you and be like, what's good, shorty? You be like, don't. Hello, LL Cool J licks his lips when he talks to everybody. I was like, James, you're gonna have to stop doing that when you talk to me. So, okay. I was like, because all these, I said, some other people are scared of you. I ain't scared of you. You know what I mean? Just moments like that where it just was, where we just got to be in it. I remember this one particular R&B superstar singer that I had the warm and fuzzies for, and we were in the green room. And everybody knew it. I had my Honey Hall of Fame with all these pictures on my cubicle because you're gonna have up Lil Kim and Mary J and Beyonce and A-Marie that I could have up, The Rock and Lenny Kravitz and Henry, so I could have up my pictures too. So I was free. And so when he came, I came and sat on the chair beside him while he was signing autographs. And one of my girlfriends, who was also a producer, came in with her camera and said, "Hey, Cheese," and he put his arm up and took a picture. And then she said, I know how much you want this picture. I'm going to charge you $500. He grabbed me by my waist and pulled me into the chair and said, take another one. I'll pay for it.
Oh!
That's what free got me. You know what I mean? I was like, and then just, the rapper here who was like, we could be in town tonight. You want to come through? I do. Or the dude was like, I'm staying till tomorrow. Where's the best place to eat in DC? I said, you try to get some really good home cooking, go to 1362 North Carolina Avenue Northeast. And he's like, what's there? I said, my house. Be there at 7:30. I'll roast a chicken, do some yams, do some potato salad, do some greens. He was like, oh, you gonna cook like that? I was like, I'm a Mississippi boy, raised by a good Southern mama. And he was like, yes. And so that began a 1.5-year relationship because I was free enough to make a step, to make an approach where it might have just been like, oh, he's so cute. The way they do now, just kind of like, ooh, this is me acting like I'm taking a selfie, but I'm gonna take a picture here. I was like, he right there. I'm not missing a right there. I might never have imagined how we were getting in the same room, but we're in the same room now. I'm at least to shoot my shot. I'm the original shot shooter in the music industry. I will tell you that. Because I wasn't that dude. I was like, oh, but him and him. Just kind of like, oh my God, he's commanding. Look. So my friend my friend at BET, Penny Mac, you know, The Rock, The Rock's 6'6", so for me at 6'2", the whole idea of somebody being taller than me was something, you know, it still is.
Right.
And so Penny was like, Kevin likes you, and I bet he'll punk out when you approach. She's like, oh, so you're Kevin? And then he approaches me in the hallway and does that, you know, that, hey, so you're Kevin, I heard you. Like, you know, that pinned up against the wall high school thing. And I was like, you listen to, I said, you listen to me, Dwayne Ezekiel Johnson. I made up some sort of really crazy middle name. I was thinking, I don't know what people told you about me around here, but there's a bathroom right behind you, and one of us is coming out of there pregnant. But you're gonna have to get up off of me with all lace and linen and smelling like patchouli and muscle. You can't do that, because this for me right now is a challenge, and I love a challenge. So and he ran down the hall, Penny. She's like, I can't believe you did that. I was like, I can't believe you did that. You think you're gonna sick the rock on me and I'm gonna back down?
Oh my goodness, that is an awesome story. That is incredible.
So I can imagine. A lot of that. And the interesting part of it is that something in the being free allowed others to be free, even just in the expression. You know, Joe Claire, who was one of the hosts of Rap City, was also like a brilliant comedian. And Joe came in because I think they had done a photo shoot, and he had this great this black and white kind of heather cable knit sweater, as I recall, and these jeans on and a nice shoe. And he walked past me. I was at the Xerox machine. And Joe also had a gay brother, but you know, having a sibling is not the same as people outside the community speaking. But I was like, Joe, that sweater looks really nice on you. You know, it's making your eyes pop. And you know, I don't know if they put a little something on his eyes, but he just looked really handsome. And as a comedian, he wasn't always in the handsome lane. You know what I mean? It was kind of like hip hop, heavy gear. And so now they were styling the photos. And I said that to him. He said, look at me. He said, the sweater make my eyes look nice. Kev, did you hear what you said? The sweater make my eyes look nice. How you gonna step to me talking about the sweater make my eyes look nice? But these jeans make my butt look nice. Why you ain't saying about these jeans? These jeans is the thing. And I was like, cause ain't nobody looking at your butt. Why ain't you looking at it? I was like, Joe, back up. But he laughed, you know, just laughed and went on his way. Like, man, kept talking about this sweater. You see this button? So it just frees some people to have somebody to work stuff out with, to play with, to talk to. So you be in rooms like BET could be very boomerang. So some girl might say my boyfriend or my husband, some man might say my girlfriend or my wife, and then I have somebody in the room free enough to say my boyfriend. They were like, all this time ain't no dude ever been strong enough to just say my boyfriend. And I was like, really? Well, me and my boyfriend, I'm gonna bring him up here next week when we go to dinner. Because if that's what it takes, if representation is that easy, then let's go.
That's all it takes. And normally, I've found that to be the case for myself as well. I've never been closeted at work. It's caused me a lot of issues, but like I would say 20% issues, 80% everybody's just comfortable once you're comfortable with yourself. And it's like the fear of rejection is actually an illusion in front of that. So
it really is.
It's so good to hear you say that and give us that wisdom. Now, with all this being said, if you were to be able to stand in front of a room full of gay men who are struggling, who are closeted, who didn't have a mother like yours, who would you give them as a person, or what example would you give for them to follow? And what advice would you give them? Yes, I would too. I second that.
A fat, black, asthmatic, gay nerd in the projects of Southwest DC. Remember that when you see these plaques, remember that when you see me in pictures with people go, oh, your life, remember that. And remember that what I had to do was to grab hold to me, because there was no example for me. There was no me. There was no RuPaul or Sylvester or Moonlight. There was nothing that gave me permission until I did the real work to go looking for me. Because I'm telling you, when you go looking for you see it in you see it in the group of boys who, as a collective, try to fight you and individually holler at you. You see it when you see the dudes dancing on Soul Train and go, he's not really dancing with her, he's just dancing beside her. I see it. I see the two of them really dancing. Those girls over there on their own, you know. And then you see, you know, I remember seeing this like this PBS special. That was this, you know, this series or this, you know, this episode. And I remember Joe Morton, yes, Joe Morton, who plays Olivia Pope's daddy, coming home playing a school teacher. And the only thing I remember about the whole episode, and this might have been in the 70s or early 80s, he came into his apartment and kissed his black male partner on the mouth. And I was like, what is this? What is this show? What is this? What is this? What is this? What is this? Yeah, you know, and those moments where you like envision a world, like I used to envision myself as friends with Raj, Rerun, and Dwayne on What's Happening. But I also knew I would have been crushing on Hey, because that Hey with Nelson he was my first age appropriate fantasy, because my first fantasy was James Evans singing. And I don't know, to this day, John Amos and that nose and that jaw used to drive me crazy. But and then you would come in with that velour shirt on and those tight corduroy pants, and I was like, why do I understand that this man is built like a grown man? Why do I know it's not right, but it's hot at the same time? And then when Raj would come in with his own high button tight pants, I was like, okay, I can look at this button. And so just to go looking for yourself, they have so many examples today, so many series, so many things. And in the 70s, it was the smile from somebody that you knew, the librarian who smiled because I was checking out the right book and seeing him going, all right, young man, the next week I've got a book for you to read. It was just a good book because he was like, I see something about myself in you. And so I think it's, people think that their mentors, their aspirations, that people that you look at are far away, and they are, just like they were for me as a black man, that first black male school teacher, that first black, male politician who came to speak to the school, the first black, firefighter you saw in the truck who did like that as he passed by us in the hood, the first police officer who just stopped, to make sure that I was safe because Mama had sent me out late to the 7-Eleven, and the block, the walk back could have been like some dude trying to take my money. And so I just was my first black male boss, my second black male boss, the first time I got the speech from a grown black man, the first time I had a black gay male supervisor. It just is all that. It's a culmination of the life you live when you go looking. And sometimes I think we're afraid to look, when we're in churches where we do like that, when we're at jobs where we do like that. And so if you live life with eyes wide open, God is sending you breadcrumbs in order to be able to feed you on the journey to yourself.
Wow. That is amazing advice. And when you say find yourself, what do you mean? Do you mean therapy? Do you mean, talk a little bit more about that.
I mean, listen, I know what I know what it's like to find the gays in my own family. Hello. Not just siblings, but aunts and, the uncle. I know what it's like to go looking for it in your community, So finding yourself is literally looking until you match your, that test you used to have in elementary school, and you did that. It's like find yourself, in the library, in the teacher, in the, live in the experience of it being okay to have the crush that you have without shame or stain on it, you know what I mean? And being able to walk through the experiences without thinking, and it's hard because you think, when you're that raw, that exposed, it feels like everybody knows, everybody's talking, everybody can see, but your journey is to give them something to talk about. They're talking about you anyway. Your assignment is to give them something to talk about. So if it's finding friends you can talk to, if it's finding a mentor, if it's finding a therapist, because they act like women are the only ones who have the disease to please. Black folk got it. The black gay men got it hard. We suffer soundly with it. And so whatever it takes, it's a group of, if we would use these collectives of us that get together on Saturdays and Sundays and in our private spaces and use them to engage instead of shade, it would be powerful. Because we act like, that's just how we talk. We just cut each other down in our own presence. We dismiss each other like, that's my sister. I was like, that's a tall, strapping, fine black man. I know who he had. I know what he liked. That's my sister. It's like, no, that's your brother. That's your, see each other, love each other, lift each other, and do whatever it takes to find yourself. So it just became living in your own truth. And so finding yourself, is the journey of looking for yourself. Hello. Finding yourself is the journey of looking for yourself and being okay to discover who you like, not trying to live out what people told you like, what they told you were, the tall boy who's got to be the top, the thick boy who's got to be the bottom because he got a fat. But we live in all of these kind of predispositions on black gay men. That I think the journey of finding yourself is powerful. It's
It
powerful.
is.
It's powerful. It's powerful for me as an openly gay Black preacher to take the pulpit for people who think that who I am is supposed to look a certain way. That's the county executive telling us, I'm sure, that we're snowed in again. Um, uh, I think it's just powerful to discover who you are without other people shooting on you, and telling you
Yeah.
because you present this way, you should be this. I think it's important that we do the work of taking the time to see ourselves as whole beings, like, so sometimes we spend so much time on whether I'm top or bottom, we don't even imagine a kiss or envision our hands being held. I was a
Mm-hmm.
grown man in my 40s when somebody that was dating me in his 20s took my hand in a car, and I was like, what's happening?
Wow.
And it took every word I wanted to utter for the next 20 years, just went away. Because I've been seen. I was like, we drive. I'm holding hands while I drive. And we sat in the car and talked for like 5 hours. I was like, what's happening here? Oh, I've lived long enough to manifest the perfect date. The thing I always wanted as a young man. Somebody who got me enough that he could hold my hand and wasn't so overwhelmed by my words that he could sit still and listen.
Wow, that's incredible. That is an incredible story and testimony, actually.
Because when we were talking, when you reached out and we talked about this coming out thing, and there's times that I've been so arrogant in my coming out story. I was like, just come on out. They don't pay your rent, and that, and then just realizing how impactful it is to walk through this conversation on me. And so the layers and levels of ways we need to come out, the journey of, I think I want to be a parent, the journey of, what I want my life to look like in its fullness, the journey of, I know the sexual me, I don't always know me. I don't know, I don't know these little intrinsic idiosyncrasies that people get to develop while they're just flourishing. And so, the aspiration to for somebody to hold my hand began in second grade because me and he on the front of the line after recess held hands and didn't get beaten up for it because we didn't. Because nobody in second grade knew anything except they were friends and we liked holding hands in front. Yeah. And so I just think, I think there's something, again, about the idea of being able to burst open for us as a community and be able to discover, then rediscover some of these truths about ourselves, and then give ourselves permission enough to still live in them, to still think about those joys and those journeys that we still get to take, what it feels like to date, I make my third date is always dinner at my house. The first one I always assume is some public space to be comfortable. The second one is generally like some sort of public engagement, like a movie or dinner, so that you get to talk. But third has got to be a place to talk. And some people can't even talk with something, the next table right here, or the idea of people being disclosed. It's like, I need to know you. I'm trying to get to know when and how to fold you into my life. And if we're always talking in whispers, we never get to truth. So come over to the house. And then if we're able to come over to the house, and I'll tell them, man, I'm feeding you so well because we ain't having no sex. You ain't got to worry about whether or not, we nibble on stuff because we're going to eat good and Southern with a dessert to boot. And you're probably going home with a to go back because you're going home. Because you're going home.
Right.
So that we can have the aspiration of, oh, good, I want to see you again. That's Sunday night dinner. You go, what you doing Friday before you leave, or Thursday night, there's a show at NJ Pack, let's go. Because you already begin to consider, wow, what could this be? Wow, what else could this unfold? And I don't know that we got that for the longest time. We lived in shadows and shame for the longest time. And the generation, your generation, I'm 56, so you're my daughter. Then you got a daughter, you know what I mean? So her generation has shown us how to be a level of free that isn't concerned about other people more than we are concerned for ourselves. We used to worry about other people. Now we're concerned about our whole self and what it means. I think sometimes they got a little bit too many labels. And
I agree.
Y'all don't just like life. Why does it need to get a label? Don't tell me it's not a label and then create 82 labels. But that's a whole nother conversation. That's a whole other conversation.
Yeah, I don't fit under any of them, and that's fine with me. I don't need a label to be So anyway.
Right. I said it. I said there's a movie called "You Are Not Alone," dealing with black gay men and depression, and I said that. I said I don't do gay. I be gay. I don't do black. I be black. So we have to stop making it, get shamed by people telling us, "Oh, who's the boy?" Because that's a doing thing. We're a being thing. I may be something with somebody and then it be something else with somebody else, because who I am and the way I get to be in the presence of that energy is considering the other energy too. It's not just kind of, this is who I am and I don't move from this spot,
Right. You can't grow like that.
You can't grow like that. And you're always holding on to this stuck and this stalled. I want to be the big guy. I'll tell you, I love that the strongest man I ever dated was probably a foot of some 6'2", so he wasn't a foot, but he was several inches shorter than me, high voice, long hair, but he was the strongest man I ever loved, because I remember he came into my life after an ugly breakup that was somebody who left stain all over my house. You know what I mean? Literally, emotionally, but literally because he was an artist who was working on this touching kind of design. And it started the underroot of it, where it was just kind of dark places in the corner that he was going to met and he was going to layer on top of. And so there's just spots all over the place. And he didn't know I was home one day because it was my house in DC. And so and I don't know if I got sick or run home or something. And I heard him come in with this painter, because for my birthday, he was going to paint over the stuff, just get it painted. He asked me what schemes I wanted, And then when he walked in, the guy said, "So what are we trying to do here?" He said, "Really, I'm just trying to cover all this up." And I was like,
yeah.
So I walked through the house like I'm okay. But he realized every time I came into the house, it bothered me just a twitch a little. And so for him to say, "Cover this up," so then get peace back in this house, was the sexiest thing I've ever heard anybody say.
Okay, listen, when somebody can see you and can interpret you correctly, that is a very attractive thing. Listen,
Harry Calhoun, I love you to this day. I just got his Christmas cookies, and I get his Christmas cookies every year. There's still a great love there. So
yes. Listen, I have to have you back. We have to talk about some more things about Black Boy Gay Joy. I definitely will have you back for that, so we can give some empowerment to Black gay men in our community, especially in the DMV area. So I'm excited.
Yes, because I might be in Jersey, but that's home. That's home.
Right. So I'm excited, and thank you so much again, Kevin, for stopping by here. MJ's Quiet Corner. We love you, and you guys have a good rest of your day. All right.
Be blessed, be well, be warm. Be blessed, be well, be warm.
Man, that was so phenomenal. What I want to leave with you guys is this. Be sure to find someone, like Kevin said, which I thought was so powerful. Find yourself in other people. The reason that there is not a lot of change in the world as far as I believe homophobia is concerned is because the new thing that God wants to do in us hasn't been done yet. It's never been accomplished. So this new thing that God is doing, God will use you to do as a queer person. But you've got to surround yourself with the right people. If it don't feel good in here, on the inside, if something feels off, go, leave. Don't try to figure out why. It's very important to protect your vulnerable spaces. That's all I have for today. I love you guys, and tune in next time for Coming Out Stories on MJ's Quiet Corner. I love you all.